My dear listeners, this is an original sci-fi story I wrote for you. If you'd like to support me, just subscribe to the channel, it really helps the growth. The Scar search party expected blood. Their dropship screamed through the turquoise sky of Elysium. For weapons hot, claws already extended for vengeance. The missing scout shuttle had crashed 3 weeks earlier. The signal from the lone survivor, a royal cub of Clan Shadowfang, had gone silent after the first hour. Every warrior aboard knew the protocol. Recover the body, slaughter whoever had touched it, and burn the colony to glass. What they found instead made the entire strike team freeze in the tall golden grass. A 10-year-old human girl named Mia Harper was riding on the back of the cub like he was an oversized house cat. The future heir of the most lethal species in the galaxy wore a ridiculous pink cape made from an old farm jacket. A bowl of milk-soaked cereal sat balanced on his head, and he was purring loudly. The girl waved cheerfully at the armored giants. "Hi, you're here for Mr. Fluffykins? He's having his second breakfast." The Scar commander, Warlord Vexcar, nearly dropped his plasma glaive. 3 weeks earlier, everything had started with a crash. Mia had been chasing fire lizards through the tall swaygrass when the damaged scout pod slammed into the meadow half a kilometer away. Smoke curled up like a black ribbon. She should have run home screaming for her parents. Instead, she crept closer, heart hammering with 10-year-old curiosity. Inside the crumpled pod lay the Scar cub, smaller than she expected, maybe the size of a large dog. Obsidian scales still soft at the edges, one leg twisted and bleeding violet. Golden slit eyes wide with pain and terror. He hissed weakly when she approached, tiny claws scraping the metal floor. Mia didn't scream. She knelt, tilted her head, and whispered the single most dangerous sentence any Scar had ever heard from a human. "Aw, you're the biggest, scariest kitten in the whole galaxy." She named him Mr. Fluffykins on the spot. Dragging him the half-kilometer to her family's old equipment shed took 40 minutes and most of her strength. She used her father's hovercart for the last stretch, singing lullabies the entire way so the terrified cub wouldn't panic and claw her. Once inside the cool, hay-scented darkness, she cleaned his leg with the medkit from the wall, splinted it with 2 fence posts and strips of an old shirt, and offered him the only thing she had, a bowl of milk mixed with colorful cereal. He spat the first mouthful across the wall. Then he tried again, and again. By the third bowl, he was eating like he'd been starving for centuries. That night, she made him a cloak, cutting holes in her favorite oversized jacket and tying it around his shoulders with twine. "Now you're invisible," she declared proudly. Like a real ninja kitty, the cub, still too weak to speak much common, just stared at her with those huge golden eyes and let her do it. The next 2 weeks became the strangest and most wonderful time of Mia's young life. Every morning she taught him to hide in the haystacks, giggling when his tail stuck out like a black flag. She invented Hunt the Mice, which was really just chasing the fat, cat-sized meadow rats that lived in the fields. She'd shout, "Catch!" and the cub would explode out of hiding with all the predatory grace his injured leg allowed, pouncing on the squealing rodents while Mia cheered like it was the best game ever invented. He learned to run after her across the swaying fields on 3 legs, then 4 as the bone knit. When she yelled, "Love you, Mr. Fluffykins," he would barrel into her legs and knock her into the grass, both of them rolling and laughing until they couldn't breathe. At night, he curled at her feet in the little nest she'd built in the corner of the shed, purring so deeply the floor vibrated. Sometimes he woke from nightmares of the crash, and she would scratch behind his ear frills and sing until he settled again. He never once tried to hurt her. On the 18th day, the sky split open with the roar of Scar dropships. Warlord Vexcar and 12 elite hunters stormed the shed, plasma glaives glowing, ready to paint the walls red. They stopped dead in the doorway. The royal cub, heir to the Shadowfang throne, was wearing a pink cape and balancing a cereal bowl on his head, while a tiny human girl scratched his chin and cooed, "Who's my bestest hunter?" "You are." The cub looked up, saw the warriors, and did something no Scar adult had ever witnessed in a royal heir. He stepped in front of the girl, spread his small arms, and hissed protectively. At his own rescue party, Vexcar's mandibles clicked once in pure disbelief. The girl peeked around the cub's shoulder and waved again. Don't be mad. He was hurt. I fixed him. His name is Mr. Fluffykins, and he likes the blue cereal best. Silence stretched for 10 full seconds. Then the cub, voice still high and young, spoke in clear, if accented, common. She is my pack mother. No one touches her. Vexcar slowly lowered his weapon. The rest of the hunters followed, stunned into silence. Word spread faster than light. Within hours, every news feed in the galaxy carried the same impossible footage. A Scar royal cub wearing a pink cape, purring while a human child fed him cereal from a spoon. The caption read simply, "The galaxy's deadliest predator has been domesticated by a 10-year-old. By nightfall, the Scar Dominion was in chaos. High chieftains demanded explanations. Clans argued. Ancient codes of honor were quoted and then quietly set aside. Because the images didn't lie. The heir to one of the most feared bloodlines in existence had chosen a human girl as his pack mother. And he would die before he let anyone take him away from her." 3 days later, a formal delegation arrived, not with guns, but with gifts. Hand-carved hunting knives for Mia, a lifetime supply of blue cereal, and a single, simple request from the Shadowfang throne itself. Allow the cub to stay until he is healed, and teach us how you did it. Mia's parents, pale and wide-eyed, could only nod. 6 months later, the first interspecies pack exchange program launched. Scar cubs were voluntarily sent to human farming colonies for 1 season each year, not as warriors but as guests. They learned to play, to trust, to laugh. Humans learned that the galaxy's apex predators could purr when they felt safe. And somewhere on Elysium 4, in a sunlit meadow, a now slightly taller Scar cub still wore the faded pink cape, now reinforced with proper Shadowfang silk, while his human sister rode on his shoulders shouting "catch" at meadow rats. The deadliest species in the galaxy had discovered something far more powerful than fear. They had discovered friendship. And it all started with one little girl who looked at the universe's greatest monster and saw nothing but the biggest, scariest kitten in the whole wide galaxy.